Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to get you the Zettelkasten of your dreams on your work table beside you. Well, I have a special episode today, and this one is for Terry. Terry asked me to review my effortless numbering system, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that in spades today. I'm going to show you that in reality, whatever style of numbering system you like, your numbering system can be effortless. And I mean, you can have Shepherd-Newman numbering and have it effortless too. Now, I call mine the effortless numbering system because that's how I've referred to it in past videos, and I'll show that one as well. But the only thing that's different is the appearance. So you get to make a few choices for what you want to see, and then I'll show you how any numbering system can be effortless and ought to be. So come on over to the down-facing camera where I have a special lesson. This lesson is taught not from file cards because I don't want the double confusion of teaching about the Zettelkasten on Zettelkasten cards where I'm talking about numbering. So just to keep it simple, I'm using note paper for this lesson. So come on over to the down-facing camera and we will talk about how any style of numbering can be effortless. Let me show you what I mean. Come on over. Okay, so what we're going to do is decide how we're going to number your cards using whatever system you want to use. And I will show you how it can and should be effortless. First of all, it's set up. You have to answer a few preference choices. Do you want categories or not? I've covered those in previous videos. If you want me to review the pros and cons of categories, just leave a note in the comments and I will make a review video on that. And then you get to choose whether you want the numbers on the top left or the top right. I'm not very good at judging space for a number, so I like the top left. But if you prefer the top right, no problem. And then you get to choose which system do you want to use. What do you want to see on your cards? Do you want your numbers to look like Scott Shepherd's, or do you want your numbers to look like mine, or do you want some other thing entirely? All you have to do is decide what you want to see on the card, and I'm going to show you how whatever system you choose, it can be absolutely effortless to create card numbers. Things that don't matter, the kind of info that you're using for a source, or what you're creating your Zettelkasten for. That makes no difference. So all we need is one simple rule. We need to know, how does a card number change when it gets longer? When the card number gets longer, what changes? And here's a couple of examples. Here's one in the Shepherd-Newman style. It uses a category, 1357. It would simply get longer by adding a /1 or maybe a /2, /3, and so on. If we started with 1357/2, it would get longer by adding /1, /2, /3. The same. No matter how long the card number gets, it gets longer by adding a /1 or a /2 or a /3. That's the basic rule. If you're using my numbering system, which I've been calling the effortless numbering system all along, I'll stick with that. Then if you've got 1C5G and you want to make the number longer, it would be -1, -2, -3, and so on. If you started with 1C5G-2, it would be 2A, 2B, 2C, and so on. In the effortless numbering style that I use, it's number, letter, and then a dash for readability every 4, and then number, letter, and so on. So that's it. That's all you need to know about your numbering system. What happens when the card numbers grow? Then the next thing you need to know to be able to make numbering effortless is a method for placing a card, and you need to adhere to a simple rule. The new card chooses its parent. It can choose any card in your system as its parent. Now, if you've got the parent, then the child card number would most naturally be the next longer number. So, for example, if the parent was 1357, the most natural child card number would be 1357/1. So now you know the number the new card wants to be. And you also know where the new card wants to go. It wants to go right after the parent. Okay, What's there now? Well, if the card afterward is something bigger like 1400, oh, then you know that line is finished and we're on to something bigger. The card gets the number it wants and it gets to go where it wants to go when we're done. Very, very easy. Well, what if there's a card there already that has the number the child card wants to be? Oops. Then what do you do? Well, that's easy. If the card the child card wants is taken, it gets the next available number. If that one's taken, you go on, so on and so on until it finds the next free number. That's it. That's all there is to it. Can you see how totally effortless that is? But wait, you may ask. Scott has all those funny numbers. I read chapter 11 carefully, and he's got negative numbers and funnies and A's and B's, and you don't have any of that. How can you say you're using Shepherd-Lumen numbering? Well, I have a little trick up my sleeve, and that is that we're going to add a directory card when needed. Well, when is a directory card needed? Very simple. Whenever your new card knows what it wants to be, but there's already a card with that number in your system, then you need to have a directory card. How do you make a directory card? It's pretty simple. You use a colored card. Because it's a different color than your plain white cards in your regular system, you can give it the same number as the parent card, and there is no confusion at all because it fits, because it's a different color, so it can have the same number without any problem. And then you list all the child cards in succession. What are you showing? You're showing the taglines for each card. If you need me to review taglines, put a note in the comment section and I will do that. Okay, so what good is this directory card? Why do we do it? Well, for one thing, it saves needing any funny numbering. We don't need funny numbering for the directory card itself because it's a different color. And if we decided we wanted to put these cards in a different order, because they're all listed in one place, we can just put a sticky note on our card and say, oh, well, the order really should have been 1, 5, 2, 3, 4. And guess what? This card does not need to get some weird number in order to stick it between 1 and 2. Your little sticky note does the job. And that's a pretty large number of branches for a given card. Even if it's longer, you could easily keep running. One tiny little sticky note would easily handle reordering 12 different child cards of a number. No problem at all. The other advantage is that it keeps the conversation on one card. And the other final advantage is that you know what number is the next available number in your sequence without digging through your cards. Terrific, huh? All that value just by keeping a directory card. It saves all the funny numbers. No funny numbers needed. Every numbering system can be effortless and should be effortless. So I hope you see the value and the power of having a directory card and why it's actually the secret to the simplest numbering system on earth. It isn't that number letter dash is inherently simpler than /1/2/. No, those are stylistic. Whichever one you want to glance, when you pick up your cards, what do you want to see on your cards? That you get to choose. What makes numbering effortless is a simple rule, which every system has. How do you make a card number the next one longer? You only need that rule, and you need directory cards. Beyond that, the only other complexities, of course, are do you want categories or don't you want categories? Do you want to put your card numbers on the left or the right? Those things are all choices that you get to make. But any numbering system, if it can define its rules of numbering, it can be effortless. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.